If you checked your phone this morning while pouring coffee in a quiet Texas kitchen, pause for a second and screenshot that normal moment. In a few days, you are going to look back at that calm routine and wish you could return to it before the ground shifted under your job, your energy bill, and your state's pride. It doesn't look like a corporate announcement. It looks like a betrayal unfolding in slow motion. This hasn't happened in modern American industrial history, not like this, not at this scale. The governor of Texas isn't the one holding the keys tonight. Elon Musk thought he could leverage Austin against Ottawa and win a bidding war. He was wrong. Mark Carney didn't scream. He didn't posture. He just signed a $50 billion deal and quietly pulled the trigger on a new economic axis. We are going to walk through exactly what happened in the last 48 hours. We are going to show you why the Texas Economic Development Council is in a state of panic and why this specific move by Carney marks a turning point in North American industrial power. This isn't just about one factory. This is about who controls the pipeline of batteries, rare earths, and advanced manufacturing in the next decade. And for the first time, the leverage has shifted north. To understand why your job security in Texas is about to take a hit, you have to understand the trigger. You have to go back to 9:17 a.m. Eastern Standard Time yesterday morning. That is when Mark Carney signed the Strategic Advanced Manufacturing Partnership with Tesla Incorporated, committing $50 billion over 10 years to expand production in Ontario and Quebec. The document was titled the North American Clean Mobility Acceleration Framework. If you don't work in industrial policy or cross-border trade, you might not realize what that framework is. It is the artery that feeds the electric vehicle supply chain. According to Innovation, Science and Economic Development Canada, it includes tax credits, infrastructure bonds, and direct grants totaling $12 billion in the first phase alone. That is not paperwork. That is a weapon. Elon Musk justified the move as diversification. He said effectively that Tesla needs redundancy in a volatile world. But let's be real, this wasn't about redundancy. It was about leverage, about squeezing Texas for more incentives, about playing Austin and Washington against Ottawa in a high-stakes poker game. Look at the visuals from Ottawa yesterday afternoon. Concrete barriers outside Parliament Hill, federal agents managing a tightly controlled press area, Carney flanked by executives in dark suits, signing with a heavy black pen under the Canadian flag. He wanted a show of calm authority. He wanted to signal that Canada is the fortress, not the junior partner. The plan was simple: float rumors about shifting production, pressure Texas lawmakers, extract bigger subsidies, then pose for a photo op of triumph back in Austin. He wanted to look like the victor, but he didn't get a surrender. He got silence. For hours, Governor Greg Abbott's office said nothing. The Texas Workforce Commission declined comment. CNBC and Bloomberg were expecting noise. They were expecting a fight. Then, at 6:42 p.m. Eastern, the ground shifted. A joint statement from the Canadian Ministry of Finance and Tesla's board confirmed binding commitments. The flow of capital didn't stop. Stopping completely would be an act of economic war. Instead, it rerouted. Carney's office released a statement citing long-term stability, workforce readiness, and sovereign resource security. Do you see what they did there? They used the uncertainty coming out of U.S. politics as justification. Elon Musk threatened to block symbolic expansion in Texas. Carney secured control over the actual battery supply chain. You might be thinking, can they actually do this? Is this legal? Let's look at the receipts because the numbers don't lie, even if the politicians do. You might be thinking, can they actually do this? Is this legal? Let's look at the receipts because the numbers don't lie, even if the politicians do. Receipt 1, market reaction evidence. We pulled the data from the Toronto Stock Exchange and the NASDAQ Composite. Look at lithium futures dependency on Canadian mining output. The numbers are staggering. It's not 5%, it's not 15%. Nearly 38% of North American lithium processing capacity is tied to projects in Ontario and Quebec. In states like Texas and Nevada, nearly 42% of battery-grade nickel inputs come through Canadian supply chains. These refineries are specialized. They are built for specific chemical compositions. It's a chemical reality. The geography doesn't work if you rip the pipeline apart overnight. When that flow shifts north, Texas facilities have to scramble for alternative suppliers. They have to renegotiate contracts. They have to slow down expansion. They have no choice. We have footage from the Port of Houston this morning, shot by local affiliates at 7:10 a.m. You need to understand this. Containers stacked 6 levels high, waiting for customs clearance tied to cross-border component shipments. That backlog stretched nearly 2 miles along the access road. That isn't just a shipping delay. That is a stress fracture in the industrial bridge that connects Texas to the rest of the continent. Those containers carry cathode materials, they carry semiconductor components, they carry precision machinery. The cost to ship battery modules from Austin to Fremont doubled overnight according to logistics firms in Dallas. That is inflation, instant and unavoidable, being injected directly into the regional economy by a single signature, and the markets know it. Wall Street reacts faster than voters. Tesla stock spiked 6% in after-hours trading. Meanwhile, shares of Texas-based suppliers listed on the Russell 2000 dipped 4%. Traders know what this means. If this reallocation lasts 30 days, you are going to see hiring freezes. If it lasts 2 quarters, you are looking at canceled expansions and shuttered subcontractors. And here is the smoking gun. Receipt 2, insider document evidence. We obtained a leaked memo from the U.S. Department of Energy to the White House Office of Domestic Manufacturing, dated late last night. The subject line reads, Assessment of Strategic Vulnerabilities in EV Supply Concentration. The memo explicitly warns senior officials. It says, and I quote, a rapid reallocation of battery and component assembly to Canadian jurisdictions could expose U.S. facilities to critical vulnerability in raw material access and grid integration capacity. It continues, such a shift may induce cascading employment impacts across Texas, Nevada, and Arizona. They knew. Federal experts told them. They warned that Canada had a leverage advantage rooted in rare earth reserves and hydropower capacity. They knew. They warned. It moved anyway. Elon Musk thought Canada was a polite partner that would always bend. He thought he could threaten, and Ottawa would just blink. But you are watching a different Canada now. You are watching a country that realizes it is sitting on lithium deposits in James Bay, cobalt in northern Ontario, and $9 billion in green infrastructure funds, and it just decided to squeeze the vein. This brings us to the man in the middle, Mark Carney. Receipt 3, on-the-ground physical evidence. Look at the Gigafactory Texas site outside Austin. Normally you see constant crane movement, trucks in rotation, contractors cycling through in tight coordination. It is like a living artery pumping steel and silicon. Today, something is different. Drone footage circulating on local news shows an 18% drop in visible truck traffic compared to last month. Contractors report a 12-hour delay in scheduled component arrivals. Logistics companies are nervous. They are revising projections. They are deferring new hires. Each decision escalates the pressure. Those trucks carry battery cells, microchips, and specialized cooling systems. This is just-in-time manufacturing. Companies like Panasonic, LG Energy Solution, and even Ford Motor Company depend on synchronized delivery windows. Look at this. Lithium carbonate futures rose 9% this morning. Futures traders know exactly what this means. Look at the map. Texas, Arizona, Nevada. These aren't just random states. These are states central to the electric vehicle build-out that was supposed to anchor American manufacturing for the next 20 years. By picking a fight with cross-border stability, Musk didn't just pressure a foreign government, he destabilized his own backyard. He can try to blame Washington, he can try to blame regulators, but when a subcontractor in Travis County can't meet payroll, they don't care about the press release. You have to understand the difference in psychology here. Musk operated on a theory of leverage through chaos. Carney operates on a model of stability through control. You have to understand the difference in psychology here. Musk operates on a theory of dominance through disruption. He believes that because Tesla holds brand power and capital market support, he holds all the cards. In a vacuum, he's right. But the real world isn't a vacuum. It's a web of minds, ports, grids, and voters. And Musk just took scissors to the strands that support his own expansion. He believes every negotiation is zero sum. For him to win, Texas must win at someone else's expense. He thinks political theater translates into economic authority. He forgot supply chain inertia. He forgot geographic dependency. He forgot that rare earth extraction is not a tweet. It is a 7-year permitting process. Yes, Canada hurts when capital leaves, but Canada hurts in the aggregate. Texas hurts in specific counties where factories anchor entire communities. Look at the map. Where are the facilities that face slowdowns right now? Central Texas, parts of Nevada, industrial corridors in Arizona. These aren't just economic clusters, they are political symbols. He is also losing control of the narrative. Usually Musk thrives on spectacle. He creates tension, blames bureaucracy, then claims victory when he extracts concessions. But this time, the cause and effect is too clear. He signaled diversification. Canada signed the deal. Markets validated it. That chain is direct. He can try to reframe, he can post, he can hint at future expansions. But when a welder in Austin hears about delayed shifts, they don't care about bravado. They care about hours worked. And notice the silence from some Texas business leaders. The Austin Chamber of Commerce issued a cautious statement. The Texas Comptroller's office requested briefings from Ottawa, not just from Tesla headquarters. That is a loss of narrative control. When local authorities start calling foreign capitals for clarity because they view them as the rational actor, that signals a shift in authority. It is not loud, it is quiet, but it is decisive. Now let's talk about Carney, because what he is doing here is methodical, and it is very different from how executives usually negotiate. Most leaders, when they are challenged by a high-profile CEO, get defensive. They wrap themselves in national pride. They deliver angry speeches. They try to look tough. Carney didn't do any of that. He didn't get into a public spat. He didn't issue empty threats. He went to work. He operates on a different level. He understands that in the 21st century, power isn't just about who has the biggest factory footprint. It is about who controls the flow of inputs, who designs the rules of cross-border finance. While Musk is obsessed with headline dominance, which is an obsolete weapon in a capital-intensive industry, Carney is building a coalition around minerals, grids, and financing guarantees. He knows that Canada and partners like Australia together control a massive share of the world's lithium and cobalt reserves. These are the materials you need for electric vehicles, for grid storage, for the next generation of aerospace components. By aligning federal financing through Export Development Canada and provincial incentives in Quebec, Carney is creating a resource superpower bloc. He is saying to the world, effectively, if you want the materials to build the future, you have to talk to us. This is the middle power strategy. It is quiet, it is complex, it is boring to people who want drama, but it is deadly effective. Musk is playing checkers. He is jumping squares and celebrating early wins. Carney is playing a multi-board chess game, moving pieces across jurisdictions and financing channels that most executives never see. Musk demands loyalty from states. Carney offers value through stability. Musk wants immediate concessions. Carney builds systems. That is why investors in London and Tokyo responded positively within hours, not because they are sentimental, but because they trust competence over chaos. So, why does this matter to you? Why should you care if a $50 billion deal shifts north? Because your regional economy may absorb the shock? Do you drive an electric vehicle? Do you rely on stable power grids? Do you care about job growth in your state? Canada supplies roughly 38% of processed lithium in North America. It provides significant hydroelectric power that keeps refining costs low. It anchors parts of the battery supply chain that American plants depend on. If this realignment continues, the costs are going to land on your utility bill and your local tax base. Let's play this out. If Canada prioritizes domestic assembly and exports finished batteries to Europe, the supply available for Texas assembly drops. Prices for components rise. Expansion plans slow. If Canadian nickel and cobalt are locked into long-term contracts, American manufacturers pay a premium on the open market. That premium shows up in sticker prices. Inflation, the thing everyone hates, can reemerge through supply bottlenecks, not because of abstract monetary policy, because the industrial bridge between Austin and Ottawa has been rerouted, and it is bigger than money. For decades, Texas positioned itself as the fortress of American manufacturing resurgence. That identity is now tied to cross-border cooperation. Imagine a world where Canada signs more exclusive deals with European automakers. Imagine a world where Asian battery giants build their North American hubs in Montreal instead of Austin. Imagine a world where Texas becomes a secondary node instead of the primary artery. Carney is not attacking Texas. He is protecting Canada's leverage. But in doing so, he exposed how dependent the system really is. This is a wake-up call. Texans were told that growth was automatic, that the pipeline of jobs would only expand. Today, a $50 billion signature proved that nothing is automatic. So where does this go from here? We are in dangerous territory. There are three ways this plays out. Scenario A is escalation. This is the most likely. Musk feels the pressure. He sees coverage highlighting Canada's gain. His ego cannot tolerate humiliation. He could announce accelerated automation in Texas, cutting labor costs to offset higher input prices. He could threaten to shift even more assembly abroad. He could lash out at regulators. If he does this, Canada won't just hold position. It will double down on incentives. It could invoke additional trade mechanisms under USMCA provisions. Texas suppliers might absorb immediate shocks while Ottawa locks in long-term contracts. This is the scorched earth scenario. It is risky. But he might do it because retreat is not in his public playbook. Scenario B is the quiet recalibration. Musk declares a symbolic win, perhaps a modest tax adjustment in Texas. He keeps part of the expansion south of the border while honoring the Canadian commitment. Prices stabilize. Construction resumes on schedule. But the trust is dented. The message that Canada can act independently remains. Scenario C is the permanent pivot. Even if short-term tensions ease, Canada has learned the lesson. Diversify, lock in contracts, reduce vulnerability to corporate brinkmanship. They will keep building refining capacity in Quebec. They will keep signing deals with European partners. They will keep investing in domestic grid upgrades. The era of automatic American industrial dominance is over. If this evolves into a broader coalition among middle powers, you could see a rebalancing of North American manufacturing that excludes traditional centers of gravity. My money is on escalation, not because it is rational, but because pride often overrides prudence. This is a turning point. You will look back at this week as the moment when leverage quietly shifted north. There is a photo circulating from Parliament Hill yesterday. On one side, Carney signs a document flanked by provincial leaders. Meanwhile, in Austin, local officials scramble to interpret what it means for their tax projections. That contrast tells you everything. One side is methodical, the other is reactive. One side is building a bridge, the other is staring at a fractured dam. Carney did not need to shout to secure leverage, he just had to sign. This is a defining moment. Texans were promised unstoppable expansion. Today, a sovereign government demonstrated that industrial loyalty is conditional. The question you have to ask yourself is this: is this a necessary assertion of national leverage by Canada, or did corporate brinkmanship overplay its hand? I want to hear from you. Do you see this as strategic diversification or as a betrayal of Texas manufacturing? Let me know in the comments. I read them and I want to know where you stand. And if you want to know what happens if Musk escalates next quarter and how Ottawa responds, make sure you subscribe and hit that bell. Because if the next announcement drops at 9 a.m. on a Monday, you are going to want clarity before the markets open. This is far from over. Stay watching.